Alright, so we made it into Beijing. Safe and sound.
It has been an ordeal. First of all, Beijing airport is just enormous.
Gigantic.
It's the second busiest in the world behind Atlanta, and it's soon to surpass Atlanta to become the busiest. Although it didn't really actually seem very busy, it was just like massive in size. So then we took the train, got on it pretty much with no hassle. The train was pretty interesting. There was like some sort of a video on the train that kept playing in a loop. It was like a 20-second loop. And within those 20 seconds, it was an animated video, and there was like a cruise ship with a Chinese flag on it, and they shot down a plane, which then crashed into the ocean. And then immediately after that, there was like a Muslim guy doing a speech with like some kind of like a Middle Eastern flag behind him. It had like the red, white, and black tricolor stripes of the Middle East. I don't know if it was like the Palestinian flag or something. And they shot him in the side, and like his face turned black. We can't figure out if they were putting like a bag over his head or if his face just turned black to like symbolize that he was dead. So it was a really weird, like, kind of first thing to see.
Like that was like our welcome.
Google is banned in China, of course, and normally I use Google Maps when we travel, so I had to download another map, which I made sure ahead of time that it would work here. And we've been using it in Japan, so I'm pretty familiar with it now, and it does work here. So far so good. Now we're on the walk to the hotel, and we're gonna drop our bags off, and then hopefully get some food.
Tegan's being such a good little girl, right? Always dealing with us. Everyone's been stopping and taking pictures of her.
This looks like St. Mark's Square, like
it's actually really awesome.
Right here. Anyway, it feels pretty surreal to be in Beijing right now, especially with a 4-month-old.
Yeah.
But it's kind of exciting, and this is a nice first glimpse of it. It's pretty lit up, colorful.
And we're happy that we can see things and have a good glimpse, because the smog levels are not very high today, which is a big reason why I was a little hesitant of coming here today, to be honest. To Beijing in general, but we looked at the smog levels and it's better than in New York City right now.
No, it's not better than New York. But it's only slightly worse. I think New York is rated like 39 currently. This changes on a daily basis. And Beijing is a 43. The lower the number, the better.
Oh.
Like 0 is perfect, and it goes up to 500.
Gotcha.
By the way, it's 9:50 p.m. right now, and we landed at 6:30. So it's undoubtedly been like the longest commute time from like plane to hotel ever for me.
I want to videotape our hotel room because it is amazing. This is our own courtyard that you can see from the outside. We haven't figured out how to open it up yet. The instructions are a little wonky, but we'll get there. This is our awesome bathroom. Look at that. I hope to God I don't walk through the glass in the middle of the night and shatter everything. It sounds like something I would do and will do. This is my family. Hi guys! And Tegan's excited because she has another ceiling to look at. Also of note, she's dressed in her duck outfit and we're in China where they eat duck. Peking duck! Peking duck! I hope they don't eat you, Tegan!
So we just left our hotel on the morning of our first full day in Beijing. So this is our first glimpse of the daytime in Beijing, and we can see the Forbidden City from our hotel. So that's where we're going today. First stop is Tiananmen Square though.
I'm having like culture shock coming from Japan to here. You're gonna use the bathroom?
Yeah.
Brave.
You say that like I'm not supposed to.
Alright, good luck. Tegan's first high chairs in China.
She also just went to her first Dunkin' Donuts a few minutes ago, also in China, of course. And her first McDonald's was in Osaka.
And her first KFC was last night.
All right, so we're now in Tiananmen Square. Feels pretty weird to be here. This is the largest square in the world, apparently. It is absolutely massive, as is the city of Beijing. As we've been looking on the phone, we've been saying, oh, that's only a few blocks away, like no problem, we'll walk it. And like a block here is like a mile long, it's crazy. So it's no surprise that the main square of the city is like equally as massive. By the way, this square is completely surrounded by like huge buildings of major historical significance. This is the Gate of Heavenly Peace. This is the entrance to the Forbidden City. After we wander around the square here, we're going to go into the Forbidden City, so I assume we'll be going through that gate. The portrait on the front there is, of course, Mao Zedong. He led the country for 27 years. He was the founding father of the modern People's Republic of China. He was a very controversial person. He unified China. He ended decades of civil war. He's also credited for improving the status of women. He improved literacy and education. But however, he also caused the deaths of tens of millions of people, which is more than any other 20th century leader in the world.
Oh.
Some people estimate that the range of deaths under his rule was between 40 and 70 million. So definitely a controversial figure both in China and abroad. But nonetheless, he's a central figure in the square here because his portrait's here. And like on the opposite side of the square is his mausoleum. That's the building kind of at the far end there.
Yeah.
Over on this side is the National Museum of China. We only have kind of one day here, so we probably don't have too much time to go into that. But it's supposed to be a pretty good museum, and it has all kinds of stuff from the history of China throughout all the different dynasties and stuff. It's a really highly rated museum. And this is right here. It kind of looks like this is the end of the square, but this is actually the middle. The square keeps on going past this. This is the monument to the people's heroes. They have round-the-clock honor guards. It commemorates the country's veterans and the war dead. It's supposed to be lit up at night. And then over here on the west side of the square, kind of opposite of the museum, is the Great Hall of the People. I'm not sure what that is, but there it is. Pretty massive buildings lining the massive square.
Yeah.
Of course, Tiananmen Square is most known for the massacre that happened here in the 80s. It was where there were students that were protesting. They were calling for democracy, and they were killed. There are all kinds of various estimates as to the amount of dead. Some sources say that the Chinese government says that no one died in the square. Others say that thousands died. So I'm sure it's more than zero. Okay, so this here is the south side of the square, and this here is the mausoleum of Chairman Mao. He was entombed here against his own wishes, apparently. And there also seems to be a little bit of a disagreement amongst the locals as to whether or not his real body is in here or if it's just like a wax body. It closed at noon, so we can't go inside. I'm not sure if we would have anyway. Apparently the lines are really long, and we don't really have too much of an opinion of him as a person or a politician to know whether or not we would want to visit it anyway. So. Nonetheless, there it is. It's a pretty impressive looking resting place.
Yes, it is.
It is where he is. So this here is Tiananmen Street. This is between Tiananmen Square and Forbidden City. And this is the street where the famous, or the infamous Tank Man photograph was taken. It's one of the most famous photos of all time. All right, we are entering the Forbidden City now, through the Gate of Heavenly Peace. Here's the chairman's portrait. Kristen's miserably hot.
In a good mood, just hot as hell. Keegan's the center of attention right now. Oh my goodness.
So we've been walking for a good like 5 or 10 minutes after we passed the gate of Heavenly Peace, and we're not sure where we are like within the Forbidden City itself, but I guess we're still in the process of entering. This looks like an entrance gate here. Yeah. We've been looking out for an audio guide to get, which we haven't found yet. So I guess we'll just have to keep going. This is quite a big entrance.
So we entered the gates a pretty long time ago. It was like 10-15 minutes, maybe more, I don't know. We had to stop to take a break for Tegan, and also people were taking photos. And also it's just kind of a big distance to get to this place. Anyways, we're in the main area. It is gigantic. We read that when it was built, it took over 1 million people to build it. 1 million people! 1 million people to build it. Could you imagine? And it's pretty awesome looking.
Okay, so they love their gates here. Before you saw we entered the Gate of Heavenly Peace, and this here is just beyond that. This is the Gate of, I'm sorry, that's the Meridian Gate. Right now we're underneath the Gate of Supreme Harmony, or we're within the Gate of Supreme Harmony. And then further up there is the Hall of Supreme Harmony. And then there's another gate past there called the Gate of Heavenly Purity. So there are a lot of gates.
That's the grandest building in this entire place. If you look in the center, it's lined with white stone, and that specifically was for the emperor to walk on. If it were me, if I were the empress, I'd want it lined with trees because the sun reflects right off of it, like as if it were white snow.
So the Hall of Supreme Harmony behind me, it has 11 beasts on it, and that symbolizes the rank of the building in the Forbidden City. That's the most, that's the biggest building, so it has the most amount of beasts. I guess less significant buildings in the Forbidden City will have those beasts, but just not as many.
Oh, I see. These little sneak guys. It's really lovely. We just went through another gate, and this place just keeps on going. It's over 120 acres in size. It's pretty wide, that's what she said. And it's pretty long. That's what she said.
So we're toward the north side of the city now, and we're just kind of wandering around before they kick us out because they close at 5. It's like 4:30. It's got a different feel. It's not quite as open as when we first entered, but this is kind of nice in its own way. I like it just because there are different like little passageways and different areas, different rooms, and it's kind of nice. So this place is on 120 acres, which is just huge. There's been very, very little trees within the city. This is by far the most amount of vegetation we've seen since we've been in. It looks like there's more on the far side over there. So this is kind of nice. I guess this is like a garden. Our audio guides sucked and they sporadically stopped working, so we just left them on a bench somewhere. It's much more enjoyable just wandering around and not worrying about them. Is this where you would be spending your time as the Empress?
Yeah, definitely. I would have made more of this and more of just the flat tile. Oh, that's beautiful.
So this is the Mountain of Accumulated Elegance. There are 2 fountains in there, and apparently the fountain's water drains into a dragon's mouth. I can't really see where any of that is other than the 2 fountains. But it says it's the only preserved waterworks in the entire Forbidden City.
Huh. I was gonna partake, but I don't want to embarrass them. I think they want me to pretend like...
I think you should put your camera down.
Oh. Whoa, they're like all... Oh.
Oh yeah, good.
Oh, good. Oh. Oh, thank you.
Okay.
我也没拍着，没拍着，重新来一张。
Oh, very cool. Thank you. We're at the top of Jingchong Park. I think I said that right. Jingchong Park. So we can get a bird's eye view of the Forbidden City. And it's a little hazy, but I don't think it has anything to do with the time of day. It's just hazy because we're in Beijing, and it's pretty awesome.
Definitely gives you a sense of the size of the place.
Yeah, we explored some of the nooks and crannies of it, but we certainly did not get to see everything. It's beautiful.
So we're now on Wangfujing, which is the kind of like the main pedestrian area in the city. This is where everyone comes for their shopping, and we have come for our dinner, and specifically for our Peking duck, which you can find absolutely everywhere here. I kind of researched a couple places to go to because I didn't know how hard it was going to be to find it, but it is absolutely everywhere. But we're just enjoying the walk, and we're still gonna check out one of the places I found. We're not too far away now. The weather is absolutely perfect right now. It's like a perfect temperature now that the sun has gone down.
It's a lot cooler and more comfortable, that's for sure. And we've got a baby who is about ready to fall asleep, and we put her back into her little duck outfit because we're gonna try to get some Peking duck.
So we made it to Gwangju Wangfujing Roast Duck Restaurant.
So Justin ordered half a duck, and they gave him a bunch of duck meat, and then literally half of it. Half of it. I guess if you ordered the whole thing, they would just give you the whole head.
You like it? It's wrapped in like what they call a pancake, but it's more like crepe as what we would call it. And then it's got little slices of, I guess, onion and celery and some sauce. I've had this back in the States and it was served exactly the same way, so it makes me happy that we have at least the somewhat authentic version of it at home. It's pretty good.
It is.
It's not as good as I hoped for it to be though. Honestly, the one I had in the US was better.
Really? Interesting.
Kristen dressed Tegan in duck suit and brought her duck animal, like some sort of sick joke.
I think that's why Tegan's so fussy. Is that why you're so sad?
Here we are at Wangfujing Snack Street. Last night we had the gourmet Peking duck dinner. Tonight we're having some street food, hopefully. There's supposed to be some pretty bizarre things in there, so we're not sure how much we'll have the stomach to try. But it smells really good so far, so.
Everywhere we go, we haven't even entered the gate
I
yet.
don't know if we're ever gonna eat. First thing on the menu are live scorpions.
I don't know how I feel about that. Actually, I do know how I feel about that. That's fucked up.
Never saw anything like that.
No, me neither. Maybe like a gross out face. That's kind of cool.
So we finally got a snack on Wangfujing Snack Street, and we went with some, I guess it's octopus. Not bad, pretty good.
Is it good?
Very Chinese tasting. A lot spicier than anything we had in Japan.
Really? Say it again, what you're getting?
Peking duck. This looks better than the rest of
Yeah, it does. Is it good?
Yeah, it's good.
Just okay?
Yeah.
The Peking duck has been pretty lackluster here, huh?
Yeah, not the best. I was hoping for more, but
you're still gonna house it.
请接，大家请勿乱扔垃圾，请按
This is what it looks like there. This is what I got.
随身携带物品。
Nailed it! So this is my dinner. This is hot and sour soup that they gave me, and this is boiled noodles with thick gravy sauce. Tell me they don't look identical, but they're different. But they look the same.
so we were just laughing at the size of Kristen's soup and the size of her meal, and then I got grilled fish, and this came out for me. We already ate before we came here, so I don't see how it's possible that we're gonna finish this.
And like, this was incredibly cheap. Like, I thought it was appetizer size. Can you see, like, I'm not sure if you can see the proportions of how gigantic this is.
I mean, mine was like...
That's a normal soup bowl.
So we are leaving our final dinner in China, end of the trip. And I must say mine was pretty amazing. Maybe like among the running for best meals of the trip, actually. I talk a lot of shit on Chinese food. Not just like crappy Chinese food in America, but like also in Asia, like the Chinese food we've had in Asia, including in Hong Kong. I'm just not into, especially compared to the other types of Asian food. But sometimes they come up with a gem of a meal, and today was one of them. It was so damn good.